Hi guys, today we are going to learn how to create the procedural rock generator using geometry nodes in Blender. Please bear with my English and let's dive into the video. With this procedural rock generator, you can control the noise strength and new gabor texture that added into Blender 4.3. You can also adjust the gabor strength and its orientation. And moreover to it, you can control the size of the instances and rotate the instances. The perfect tool for creating procedural rocks using geometry nodes in Blender. I'll leave the link in the description and comments for you to download this source file. If you use it in your project, a simple credit will be appreciated. Please subscribe and like the video and comment what you want next. Let's start by adding a bezier curve, create a new geometry nodes for it, and call it rock generator. Inside geometry nodes, add instances on points node, and cube will be the instance. In order to do procedural modeling, we need to control the scale and rotation of the instances individually, where we can't do that directly in geometry nodes. So we need to take advantage of the curve. Curve objects have the radius parameter. With this radius, you can control the scale of the instance. Inside geometry node, add a radius node and connect the radius to the scale. Now, control the radius and it will control the scale of the instances. Also, we need to take advantage of the curve to rotate the instances as we like. So, inside geometry nodes, add curve tangent and connect it to align rotation to vector and connect the tangent to vector and connect the rotation to the instances rotation. If we rotate the points, we can rotate the instances too. And now we are going to add a bit of variations to the objects. We can do that in two ways. First way is controlling the curve points. Scale it around, rotate it. And another way is inside geometry nodes, we can add an arch displacement to have a bit of variations and make the object look a bit natural. We can achieve that with the help of set position node and noise texture. Connect the factor to the subtract node and subtract 0.5 from the factor and add a multiply node. Also, we need normal node. Add a vector map node, set it to scale, connect the normal to vector and the value to the scale, and connect the vector to the offset of the set position. Expose this multiplication second value to the group input and call it noise strength. And if we slide the value from the modifier, we can control the variation of the object. If you want, you can also duplicate the point and move the object around. And now we are going to remix the object. If we remix the object, we can have a single object instead of multiple objects coupled together. We can remix the object by adding mesh to volume node and set the resolution to size. The voxel size of 0.3 is fine for now. Interior bandwidth should be minimum as possible. And add volume to mesh node. and set it to grid. And now we are going to add details to the rock. We can do that by adding subdivision surface to geometry nodes. And again, we are going to displace the object. So instead of copy pasting all those nodes, we can group these nodes together and call this node noise displacement. And duplicate this node, move it here, and click this to make a separate object, separate node, and call it as gabor displacement. Instead of noise trend, we are going to have a new input and call it as gabor strip. And inside this node, we are going to change the texture. We are going to add the gabor texture. Set the scale to 1 and expose this orientation to the group input. Set shade smooth and add smooth by angle. And then add merge by distance node and set it to a higher value. So we can have a low poly version of the object. If you decrease the value, you can have the high poly. If you increase the value, you can have the low poly. And what's more, inside edit mode, we can add a bit of variations more. Previously, I set the merge by distance after the smooth by angle, but that's a mistake. You have to add the merge by distance before the set smooth and smooth by angle modes. So we can have these sharp edges.